everyone, welcome into my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a quick no spoiler book review for Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. So Ship of Magic is a multi-perspective high fantasy story. It's a lot of fun. It basically is about this world that there are these things called live ships, which are sentient ships. They are sentient vessels that are made from this very specific kind of wood, and to make them come alive, 3 people from the same bloodline need to die on the decks. Doesn't have to be like killed on the decks or anything. They just have to pass away on the decks. It's super coveted because these ships are able to go to really dangerous trading areas. They're able to withstand a lot. They're less susceptible to like pirate attacks because of the fact that they are like bound to a certain family. So if it's not the family that's like the ones who are using the ship, they end up a lot of the time not running right, killing the crew, etc. It's a lot of fun. We follow a lot of perspectives in this story. I'm actually not even going to fully get into all of them in this review because I feel like some of them might end up being spoilers, but I will tell you the main, what I consider to be like the main storylines that we're following. The first one is of a girl named Althea. She's about 18 years old, and her dad was the one who owned this live ship named Vivacia. And the Vivacia is quickened when her dad dies in the decks at the beginning of the book. It's not a spoiler, it's like what the book starts with. Alright, so she has spent a lot of her life growing up on the decks, going around, being a sailor with her dad. She loves it. She finds out though that when her dad died, he actually signed away the rights of the ship to her sister's husband, and so she does not get to be the captain. She doesn't get to sail anymore, and she is devastated. So Althea is going to do anything in her power to get back on board the Vivacia. Another perspective that we follow is of Althea's nephew, who is a 13-year-old boy named Wintrow. Now Wintrow, when he was very young, was like given away to a priesthood. He was given away to study to be a priest. And he is now, I don't want to get too much into it because it might have some spoilers in it. He is now trying to figure out what kind of life he wants to lead, where his loyalties lie, and like what it means to have your own identity outside of your family. That's what I'm going to say about that. But it follows his perspective too. I really enjoyed Wintrow's perspective. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. But it was a whole lot of fun listening to him go and all the little adventures that he ends up going on. Another main perspective that we follow is that of Captain Kennett. Now, Captain Kennett is a pirate, and he wants to be king of the pirates. However, pirates are not really wanting to have a king. They're like, we are being pirates because we don't want a overarching force to be telling us what we are supposed to be doing and not doing. This story has a lot of political intrigue within the traders. There is a cultural shift happening as a lot of the traders are extremely against slavery, obviously, but there are a new group of traders coming in who are very pro-slavery, and is creating a lot of shifts and disagreements and problems within the trading community as they try to figure out how to stop the slave trade that is happening, while other people are trying to push the slave trade into the trading towns. This book talks a lot about the idea of ethics, about the idea of family, about the idea of personal identity and legacy. It's really interesting. In terms of things that I loved about it, I thought that the political intrigue part of this was fantastic. I thought it was so well done and so well thought out. There are so many little things throughout the book that you pick up on and you start putting the puzzle pieces together. This is not a book that you want to speed through. This is a book that you want to sit with and think about and have time to digest. Because all the different perspectives as they're coming together creates such an interesting overarching story that the reader gets to see that the characters experiencing it might not get to see in the same way. There's a lot of really fun magic within this book that is not overpowering. So if you're someone who's like, magic, a ton of magic in books isn't really my thing, this definitely has magic, don't get me wrong, but it is not the main focus of the story, and it is not all encompassing. That being said, I do love the magic in this book. I think the quickened live ships, which are like The live ships that have come to life are so much fun. They've all got like their own personalities and ideas about the world, and it is so much fun to read about them. The story is extremely character driven. Every single character in this book feels like they're there for a reason. There is not a single character in this book that I'm like, we could have cut them and it would have been the same story. Like, every single character was so well thought out and so well done. They're all so vivid. I genuinely think that this is one of the best examples of character work that I have ever read. The characters are fully fledged people. You want to root for them. You want to yell at them to be like, what are you doing? Stop doing that. There are no perfect characters, and I also think there are no like fully evil characters, at least not that we get perspectives from. The antagonists end up having a lot more to do with personal wants and personal needs. A lot of things go into the idea of ethics. The villains in this story end up a lot more being concepts or a societal norm than people specifically. I really cannot praise the character work in this enough. The characters are all just so vibrant, so vivid, so complex. There are two more books, the trilogy. This is the first in the trilogy, and I cannot wait to read more from these characters in the next 2 books. In terms of things I didn't love from this book, I was expecting it to be a lot more of a like swashbuckling pirate adventure. It's not really that. If you're going into this being like, I can't wait for there to be like tons of epic sword fights, and like, it's not gonna happen. There is a little bit of that in this book, but it is more focused on the characters and on the idea of traders. It's a different thing than just a pirate book. There are pirates in it, and there are a lot of fun piratey moments, but if that's what you're going into this book for, the pacing is going to feel slow. I went into this book thinking that it was going to be a like swashbuckly pirate adventure, and it took me a long time to read because it was a lot deeper than that, and it had a lot more intrigue and context to it that I was not expecting when I first picked it up. My other con with this is it is a big book. This is over 800 pages. And fortunately, I felt like by the end of it, even at that point, I still like was like, I have a lot of things that I want answered. And I understand it's a trilogy, so like, of course things are going to like keep going, but I feel like for 800 pages, I would have liked more from the end. It felt like this first book was, I'll say, an excellent setup, but it did feel like a setup to the rest of the story, which is okay. But again, I did commit 800 pages of reading to this, and I didn't feel like I fully got everything I wanted to out of it. Overall, if you are someone who is looking for a very fun, very interesting, very character-driven adult fantasy that is not too heavy on the magic, I would definitely recommend checking out Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I have an Instagram link below as well. I also run a weekly virtual write-in called The Writer's Zoom. I have that Instagram linked below. Check those out if you would like. I hope you're all having a very good day and a very good week, and I will see you all soon in another video. Goodbye!